I was only 14 or 15 at the time and I lived in the Blue Mountains. My fam's house was right next to a bush reserve, which was great because as a kid me and my brothers would spend most of our time out in the bush playing all sorts of games. One day we started to find large kangaroo carcasses and skeletons torn apart all around the place. We found about 3 over a good of couple weeks. What was especially weird about them was that all the body pieces were pretty close to each other except the heads, which we always found at least 20 meters or more away from the body. I guess it could be hunters, but I have never seen anyone hunt in our area do that, plus the kangaroos were either eaten to the bone or just torn apart. Me and my brothers thought this was pretty cool but a bit concerning, but it didn't stop us from playing in the bush. Then the bushfires happened, not in our area but close. At this time we were looking after a dog for a friend while they were in hospital, and one of my brothers would take it for a walk in the bush always at around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. One day he came back and said he thought something big was following him in the bush. I did not believe him, nor did my parents. This happened a few times. Then one day at the same time in the afternoon he came sprinting back to the house and told us he had seen some big thing that was following him and the dog. His description was a shaggy black thing, but he didn't get time to look because the dog bolted and so did he. At this point I started to believe him, but not really, and so did Mum. So one afternoon at around 3 p.m. me, my brother, Mum and the dog went for a walk looking for this thing. Then I heard the most colossal stomping. It sounded like an elephant was charging in the bush, knocking trees over. Instantly I turned my head to the source of the sound and I saw a black shaggy-haired thing only about 50 meters from us. It looked like a gorilla but oversized. Its back was turned to us, but I could see massive long arms and legs, very muscular and very broad shoulders and a pointed head. It must have been at least 7 or 8 feet tall if it stood up, but it was running on all fours, so it was hard to tell exact size, but it was definitely over 6 feet. It was massive. This thing was running not on the flat but up a steep incline that had large rocks and thick bush. This thing sprinted so fast up the hill it didn't even seem to care about the dense bush it was going through. I only saw it for about 4 or 5 seconds, but the image of it is still clear. The scariest part was the absolutely paralyzing fear I felt when I saw it. Mum, although she didn't see it clearly, definitely heard it. We had no idea what the fuck we had just seen. Later we searched on Google for any other sightings and found out it was apparently a yowie, basically the Australian version of Bigfoot. Mum was pretty concerned about it and she called the police, who didn't believe it. Then she got some expert guy to come out and explain, who told us what it was and what it was like. After talking, he inspected the area of our sighting and looked around. We found young trees about 5 inches thick that had been corkscrewed, and apparently this was the yowie marking its territory. We no longer go into the bush as often. I have not seen it since or heard any more of it except a couple years later when we heard a very strange scream coming from the bush, but not sure if related. Yeah, that's why my area is scary. I was out geocaching at a huge park. It multiple roads you could drive down and multiple parking lots. I'm parked at the tiny parking lot next to the remote control helicopter drone station. It's some kind of place for people to meet up and fly their toys or hold competitions. No one else is there that day. I went back to my car to take a break, legs hanging out of my seat. Another car pulls up and just to be safe I pull my legs in and close my door. I'm a young woman, so better safe than sorry. It's a middle-aged man. He just sits in his car not doing anything. Weird. I thought maybe he is just enjoying the scenery. I didn't want to get out and start walking to my next geocache with him there. So I wait a while in my car. I eat a snack and play on my phone. After 15 minutes I decide to drive to the next cache because I get this weird feeling from him. Why is he just sitting there? After I pull out and start down the road, he also pulls out and drives behind me. I was like, WTF. I turned down a small service road for park employees. Geocache is in the woods not far from their gated worksite. He continues down the main road. Oh good, I thought. It was all a coincidence and he's gone. I get out and sign the geocache. Takes me maybe 10 minutes because it's a puzzle type and I take lots of pictures. I get back in my car and start plugging my phone in. Here comes the guy in his car. He realized I hadn't turned down the main road and came back. He has music blasting. This road is small and there is barely room for 2 cars to fit side by side. He pulls up to me and wants M to roll my window down. I'm freaking R and shake my head no. He grimaces, then pulls up past me to turn around and drives off. I was freaking out so much while he was driving by me. I recorded the whole thing on my phone. Called the police and had an officer come by to give a statement to. I show him the video and clear photo of the guy's license plate and car. He said he would see if the guy was still around in the area and question him. The officer almost wrote me off completely midway through my story until I got to the part about the guy driving back over to me. He asked if the guy could have been geocaching too. I asked the officer why he wouldn't say anything to me in the parking lot and instead decide to follow me down the road. If he had showed up a few minutes sooner, I wouldn't have been in my car. I carry mace and a machete with me, but I really don't want to be in the situation to use them. The scariest part about the woods to me is other human beings. I've found opossums, snakes, spiders, unleashed barking dogs. The scariest thing is another human being. Especially a man. Flirting tip, guys. A girl doesn't want to talk to you after you follow her down a remote road.